Hi everyone, I'm Rodrigo Durão, and this is what's happening in Brazil. We start by updating you on the latest news from the country. Brazil celebrated Carnival this week. The party in Salvador, Bahia, was considered the largest carnival of trios elétricos in the world by the Book of Records. The news was announced in the middle of Carnival Tuesday by Bahian singer Ivete Sangalo. The recognition was based on documentary evidence and makes official the greatness of the celebration in the city, which this year also celebrates the 75th anniversary of the invention of the trio elétrico. In Rio de Janeiro, 9 of the city's 12 main samba schools had religions of African origin as the theme of their sambas. For composer Cláudio Russo, the massive presence of the theme is no coincidence, but rather a movement that reunites Carnival with its African roots. He also says that the event has become a culture of resistance. Last Sunday, Brazil received the first Oscar in its history. The movie I'm Still Here by Walter Salles won the prize for the best foreign film. The movie tells the story of Eunice, whose husband was killed by the military dictatorship and who fought for decades for the right to memory. President Lula celebrated the victory, saying he was proud of Brazilian cinema and democracy. In today's story of the week, we go to Cerrado. One of the most important Brazilian biomes now has a national policy to guarantee its preservation and the future of one of the most famous and important fruits, the pequi.
Brazil's federal policy to preserve the Cerrado biome was sanctioned by President Lula this year. The initiative was born from a bill presented to the Minas Gerais government and was dubbed Pro-Pequi Bill. It refers to pequi, one of the most famous and important fruits in the biome. In addition to protecting the Cerrado, the national policy also intends to value sustainable agro-extractivism and make small farmers who are based in the biome economically more independent.
The law has two objectives: to preserve the Cerrado through its native fruits and to ensure that people who live in the biome have the dignity of living of what the Cerrado offers, which are its fruits. This law will help a lot, firstly because it is also a ban on cutting down the pequi trees. The municipalities and states themselves can have even stricter laws. It can't be different, so it is already a good step that the national law prohibits cutting down pequi trees. Once this practice is banned, we'll have greater conservation of the Cerrado. Also, it will enable the federal government to carry out inspections. Now we will have tools to monitor the Cerrado because the destruction of the biome frequently happens without the government having ways to curb it. So I think that's the first important thing about this law.
Among the aims of the new public policy are the promotion of sustainable practices such as proper management, reforestation, and the creation of a seal to identify the origin and quality of products made from fruits of the Cerrado.
Nossas produções são todas artesanais.
Our products are all homemade. A few years ago, when I came from Roraima, where I had lived for 20 years, I got to know pequi. That was about 7 or 8 years ago. Then I went to work in a restaurant, and our challenge was to create a sandwich recipe with pequi, which is a beautiful fruit from the Cerrado. I developed a paste which is a recipe of ours and a bread preparing using pequi. There is pequi flour, there is pequi oil, pequi nut. Pequi is very tasty to eat with lunch, and there are various other recipes that we come up with every day.
Another goal of the national law is to identify traditional communities that make a living from collecting the fruit.
coisa muito bonita do Cerrado é que
One of the beautiful things about the Cerrado is that, along with this biological diversity, it also has a huge social and cultural diversity. We have indigenous peoples, quilombolas, the so-called geraizeiros and vazanteiros, coconut breakers, and so many other traditional communities who use the biome's natural resources. When we recognize a product and the production chain of traditional populations and local communities linked to it, we are giving visibility to these people and their way of generating income and employment, their approach to land use and nature conservation. So policies like this, like so many others, value the knowledge and traditional peoples and communities of the Cerrado and the whole of Brazil.
The Cerrado is still the most threatened biome in Brazil. Between August 2023 and July 2024, more than 8,000 square kilometers of the biome were devastated, according to a project that monitors deforestation in the legal Amazon by satellite. To implement the conservation measures, the policy will rely on resources from the federal budget, credit operations, and other sources provided for by law. These financial resources will be earmarked for improving production infrastructure, technological training, and strengthening the production chain for piqui and other fruits native to the Cerrado.
O desafio que a gente quer ver como vai se desdobrar.
The challenge we're going to have now is how the law unfolds, and we're going to monitor this closely and push for it to work. For it to happen, we need it to come off the drawing board. That is, we need programs, policies, and a budget so that what is provided by the law becomes a reality. We have a prospect of robust development with all the potential that the biodiversity and traditional communities can provide for Brazil, which doesn't know about its own biodiversity, peoples, and traditional communities.
On this week's edition of Culture Talk, you will learn about the community kitchens in Belo Horizonte, the capital of Minas Gerais state, southeastern Brazil. The project wants to offer free food for the people.
It was almost a year for the Community Kitchens program to be regularized in Belo Horizonte. The goal is to provide quality meals to vulnerable populations, people facing social issues, such as street people. The initiative also aims to improve activities focusing on food and nutritional education. Workers' Party City Councilor Pedro Patros created the project and explained the importance of such an initiative in the city of Belo Horizonte.
As cozinhas.
We believe it's the utmost relevance because it's about food, a basic need of the people in our city. Therefore, community kitchens are an important way to combat food insecurity, and that's the biggest motivation for creating the program, especially for the people who need it the most, those who do not eat properly. So community kitchens manage to help a large number of people.
According to the latest UN State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World report, there was an 85% drop in Brazil's food insecurity rate in 2023. That is, over 14 million people are no longer facing hunger in the country. In this context, initiatives such as community kitchens gain more importance, as Juliana Tangari, director of the Food of Tomorrow Institute and urban food policy researcher, explains.
É importante a gente verificar que esses
It's important to highlight that these programs are crucial for guaranteeing more people access to food. Sometimes a people's restaurant, as important as it may be, is located in the city center, a busy place. Community kitchens are easier for government to set up. They are less costly and therefore can be in different places, in areas where families really need them. We are usually talking about families that may have one person working. Maybe it is the mother, or the grandmother is at home with the children looking after them alone. She is not going to travel to urban centers to get food, and she needs it.
Another goal of the initiative is to boost the purchase of agroecological food produced by urban farmers or family farmers.
Além disso, como
By implementing the program, we are also talking about government food purchases, institutional food purchases, just as schools in Brazil have. And this has deep economic power. We are talking about a large volume of items regularly purchased by government agencies. Instead of using government food purchases in just one way, as if we were buying any other ordinary thing, the idea is that these food acquisitions may be for the benefit of the food system. That is, it must prioritize buying food from local producers, focusing on regional agriculture. That's a principle guiding the Belo Horizonte Community Kitchens program, acquiring ecologically produced food.
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We will see you next week.